I think with today's wrestling industry, they need a little switch up. Um, for a while there, in 2016 through 2019, WWE was pretty much taking over like the landscape of wrestling business. Yeah, you had Impact Wrestling, but it wasn't really what you say out there. So, WWE like was the gold standard. AEW came along in 2019, got some big stars, and that changed a lot. You had AEW getting the Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is actually the founder of AEW, but you had guys like Chris Jericho, Jack Hager, Billy Gunn, Pac, JR, good old JR, Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone, multiple people leaving WWE or Ring of Honor or Impact just to be at the new spot in AEW. Ortiz and Santana, another perfect example. And then John Moxley, a great example. But then 2020, the pandemic, WWE releases over 55 to 70 employees. Most wrestlers, some production, some referees. You got guys like EC3, Eric Young, Kurt Angle, Mike Chioda, all of those being released. Which for me, EC3, I love EC3 better in Impact Wrestling than I did in WWE. The first time when he went as Derek Bateman, we all saw how that was. That wasn't squat at all. Then when you went to Impact Wrestling, that man tore it up in Impact Wrestling. EC3 did. So he tried to go back to WWE again, see if it can work out a second time. 2018, EC3 coming to NXT. It was great to see him in NXT, but from the beginning, they didn't let him do much at all. Why? Because he wasn't a WWE product. You see, here, let me explain something to you. Some stars can go to a promotion and they have success, some can't. Kurt Angle, one example, WWE man, all the way. But when he went to Impact Wrestling, he only elevated his game and took it to a whole new level, took the company to a whole new level. Why? Because he was already a marquee star. The Dudley Boys were ECW all the way. But when they got to WWE, they just elevated the game to a whole new level. When they went to Impact, even took it to a whole new other level. Why? Because they was already main star attractions. It's just a matter of if you're a product and if you're a star attraction or not. But to me, I like EC3 and Eric Young better in Impact Wrestling more than WWE. I was like Eric Young in 2016 when he went to NXT. Had an alright, pretty good debut. And then Sanity. Here we're thinking he's going to do great with Sanity. But when Sanity got to SmackDown, they may have had one or two moments. But that was it. Bobby Roode, another example. The glorious one. Went to NXT, done great. Done excellent in NXT. He had 5-star matches in NXT. He got to SmackDown, he did good. Won the United States Championship for a minute. But ever since that time, he really ain't done much. And then AJ Styles, Impact Wrestling, did great. WWE, he didn't take his game to a whole new level, but he excelled to one of the top stars automatically. Why? Because AJ Styles was a main event guy and a main star status. So, it just depends on what your status is and if you're a product of some sort. It's like Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe went to Impact Wrestling, Well, first he went to Ring of Honor, then Impact Wrestling. When he got to WWE and NXT, did excellent in NXT. Excellent. Raw, he did great in Raw, but he started getting injured. Sometimes it's just not if you're a main event star or if you're a product, but sometimes injuries can come at you. The Revival, when they was in WWE, they did great, but injuries started coming their way. Now they're in AEW killing it. I mean, it's just a fact of sometimes if you're not a product, you're not going to be used. And if you're injured, you're a liability. And now that Mike Chioda is no longer in WWE, he's in AEW. So we'll see how Mike Chioda does. But I'm just happy to see people switch it up in wrestling, because if you're not going to take the PG rule away from WWE, you got to switch it up somehow. Of bringing stars to different promotion, whatever, you got to switch it up. AEW's doing good. Impact Wrestling's okay. But wrestling, it's time for wrestling just to switch it up. It's just time for them to switch it up.